Hello.
Hi. Sarah, can you hear us?
Yes.
Thank you. You are connected to the boardroom now.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order and let it be known that we have all board members present. Ms. Smith is telephonic this evening. Ms. Sagata-Jones, are there any changes to the agenda?
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. No, there are not.
Okay. I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I will second.
Okay, with first and second. Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pimentel?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. At this time, please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the pledge. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we have called to the public. First one is from Idali Giron Pina. Don't close Coyote Ridge. This year's enrollment, in my opinion, isn't valid. COVID has caused a disruption in everything, but once we figure it out and we can manage to have it under control, classes will be full again. Before COVID, I tried to enroll my children in this school through a variance, and I was denied only because the classes were too big already. Now I finally have them enrolled in classes or 15 students plus. So if we manage to get back to me, that sounds that the teachers will be able to have the students distance from one another, but if we close schools down, are we really going to cram them into another school and have classrooms 30 plus students? I don't find that sanitary. Besides COVID, there's other reasons. Walking to school at a safe distance, you're eliminating jobs for staff. Next one. Ms. Sagata-Jones.
Ileana García. Hola, mi nombre es Ileana García, mamá de Joseph Silvas. Él está en el 5º grado y asiste a la escuela Coyote Ridge desde kinder y todos sus primos han asistido a la misma escuela. Coyote Ridge es una escuela con muy buenos grados, muy buenos maestros y con un director muy pendiente de todo dentro del plantel. Ya son como una familia. Nos dolería muchísimo si esta escuela se cerrara. Como padres de la familia estamos muy preocupados y nuestros hijos muy asustados en pensar que ya no volvieran a la escuela y volver algún día a la normalidad y seguir venido y conviviendo con sus amigos y maestros. Por favor, consideren y no será Coyote Ridge. Sabemos que han sido tiempos muy duros y más para nuestros hijos el adaptarnos a este tiempo de pandemia, pero al mismo tiempo la motiva saber y algún día regresan al plantel de nuevo. Por favor, tomen nuestras cartas en consideración y nos cierren la escuela Coyote Ridge. De atendimiento, muchas gracias y espero que pronto tengamos una muy buena respuesta de ustedes. Gracias.
Hello, my name is Ileana Garcia, mom of Joseph Silvas. He is in the 5th grade and has attended Coyote Ridge School since kindergarten, and all his cousins have attended the same school. Coyote Ridge is a school with very good grades, very good teachers, and a principal who is very attentive to everything on campus. They are like a family. We would be very hurt if this school were to close. As parents, we are very concerned, and our children are very scared to think that they will not return to school and return to normalcy and continue seeing and spending time with their friends and teachers. Please consider not closing Coyote Ridge. We know it has been a very hard time for our children to adapt to this time of pandemic, but at the same time, it motivates them to know that someday they will return to school. Again, please take our letters into consideration and do not close Coyote Ridge School. Thank you very much in advance, and I hope we get a very good response from you soon. Thank you. The next one is from Ana Herrera.
Ana Herrera, soy mamá de Luis Muñoz. Por favor, les suplicamos no cerrar la escuela de nuestros niños. Díganos cómo podemos ayudar para conservar nuestra escuela. Gracias.
I am Luis Muñoz's mother. Please, we beg you not to close our children's school. Tell us how we can help to preserve our school. Thank you. Next one is Angelica Flores. Dear GESD 40, I've went to Coyote Ridge from 1st through 8th grade. I promoted there, and now that you guys are deciding to close, I've decided to email and say to please not close the school. I also got a little sister going to that school, so please take close consideration. Thank you. Ariana Renteria, good afternoon. I have been informed about the possible closure of Coyote Ridge, and I oppose to this. I am a 2019 graduate from Coyote Ridge. I have went to Coyote Ridge all 8 years plus kindergarten. It is the only elementary I have ever known. This school has a special place in my heart as an individual. The amount of memories and friendships I have made there have been irreplaceable. I just cannot imagine the amount of kids that won't get to experience these experiences and memories the way I did when I attended Coyote. I wish that you would take my story into consideration to stop the possible closure. Thank you for your time. Kind regards. Next one is...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Next one is from Zilka Hernandez.
No me parece que quieran cerrar esta escuela porque tiene muy buen nivel educativo y me parece de los mejores que hay en la ciudad.
I don't like that you want to close the school. It is a very good education level, and I think it is one of the best in the city. Next one is Irvin Ruiz. Hi, I send this email to tell you that don't close Coyote Ridge. My niece studies there, and she's very happy in that place with her teachers and friends, and it's a good school. Please. Next is Angelica Navarez, to whom belong. Hello, I'm writing this email in support of Coyote Ridge School. Please do not close my daughter's school. It is the closest school to home. We moved to this house because the school is very close to it. My 2 older sons graduated from this school. If you close Coyote Ridge School, I'm pretty sure it's going to affect many students and their families, and of course the staff that work there. Thank you for your attention. Next is Amanda Victoria Aguirre Lizaraga.
Hola, buenas tardes. Es una lástima escuchar que cerran la escuela. Me pone a mí y a mi familia muy triste, ya que mi sobrina es muy feliz estando ahí con sus compañeros y con lo que aprende. Espero que reconsideren la opción y no cierren la escuela. Saludos.
Hello, good afternoon. It is a shame to hear that they will close the school. It makes me and my family very sad, as my niece is very happy being there with her classmates and with what she learns. I hope they will reconsider the option and not close the school. Regards. Next is Frida Stephanie Olivas Moreno.
Por favor, no cierren Coyote Ridge. Es una maravillosa escuela y todos en la familia estamos muy contentos del proceso de nuestros pequeños. Es una excelente escuela con excelentes maestros.
Please do not close Coyote Ridge. It is a wonderful school, and everyone in the family is very happy with the progress of our little ones. It is an excellent school with excellent teachers. Ayanami Poncho. My niece goes to that school. She loves it. She has learned a lot there. The attention and education that the teachers bring are great. Next is Maria Zazueta.
Atención, miembros del Consejo Escolar. Apreciables miembros del Consejo Escolar, quiero sumarme a las peticiones de todas las personas, padres y familiares de alumnos de la Escuela Coyote Ridge para pedir que por favor no cierre. Son muchos los niños y familias a los que se afectaría grandemente porque requieren buscar acomodo en otras escuelas con el ciclo escolar iniciado. Ya de por sí la situación con la pandemia y mermado considerablemente sus ingresos y han tenido que hacer ajustes en el presupuesto familiar y será otro gran problema. Eso sin contar lo que implica para los niños tener que adaptarse a otra escuela, lo que les ocasionará en un gran atraso en su desempeño académico. Por lo que pido que, por favor, consideren todo eso y no cierren la escuela, agradeciendo atentamente su atención y esperando se tome la decisión favorable. Y yo a ustedes con cordial saludo.
Attention school board members. Dear school board members, I would like to join the petitions of all the people, parents, and family members of students at Coyote Ridge to ask that you please not be closed. There are many children and families who would be greatly affected because they would have to look for accommodations in other schools with this school year already started. The situation with the pandemic has already considerably reduced their income, and they have had to make adjustments in the family budget, and the closure would be another big problem. Not to mention what it means for the children to have to adapt to another school, which would cause them a great delay in their academic performance. So I ask that you please consider all of this and not close the school. Thank you in advance for your attention and hoping that a favorable decision will be made. I send you my best regards. The next one is Maria Zamora.
Buenas tardes. Con la intención de hacer saber que la escuela Coyote Ridge es necesaria, los estudiantes no se pueden quedar sin su escuela. Esto causaría graves problemas a ellos como a nosotros como padres de familia. Deseamos y queremos que se conserven la clase en esta escuela. Por favor, no cierren Coyote Ridge. Atentamente.
Good afternoon. With the intention of letting you know that the school Coyote Ridge is needed, the students cannot be left without their school. This would cause serious problems for them as well as for us as family parents. We wish and want to keep the classes in this school. Please do not close Coyote Ridge. Attentively. The next is Rosa Maria Zazueta.
Buenas tardes. Me dirijo a ustedes con la intención de hacerles saber que la escuela Coyote Ridge es necesaria para la comunidad de esa zona. Los estudiantes egresados han sido un ejemplo al egresar a otros niveles escolares. Es importante que tomen en cuenta la situación en que ponen a los actuales estudiantes. Ellos sí se encuentran trabajando con los planes de estudio que ese maestro tiene para ellos. Sería un atraso para ellos el que se cierre la escuela. Deseamos y queremos que se conserven las clases para los próximos ciclos escolares. Por favor, no cierren Coyote Ridge. A sus órdenes.
I am addressing you with the intention of letting you know that the Coyote Ridge School is needed for the community of this area. The graduated students have been an example when entering other scholastic levels. It is important that you take into account the situation in which the current students are placed. They are already working with the curriculum that their teachers have for them. It would be a delay for them if the school is closed. We wish and want to keep the classes for the next school years. Please do not close Coyote Ridge. At your service. This next one is Martir Z.
Me sumo no al cierre de Coyote Ridge.
I support no to the closing of Coyote Ridge. The next is Rosa M. Zurich. Hello. I have a couple of questions regarding the school closures. My concern, I'm sure I'm not alone, is the student-to-teacher ratio. It's high already. What kind of numbers are we looking at? Another concern is bus transportation. The bus would be late picking up our children, at times making them late to school, thus interrupting everyone's learning. How are the buses going to run with the additional students needing transportation? when it was already difficult getting kids to school before all these changes. I thank you for your time addressing these matters. Sincerely. Next is Luis Francisco Rivera Uzeta.
Mi sobrina asiste a su escuela y está muy contenta. Lamentamos la falta de asistencia de otros niños, pero creemos que los que van están muy a gusto. Ojalá se logre el objetivo de que mantengan sus puertas abiertas para seguir recibiendo a los pequeños que están interesados.
My niece attends her school and is very happy. We regret the lack of attendance of other children, but we believe that those who attend are very happy. Hopefully, they will be able to keep the doors open to continue receiving the children who are interested. Next is Luis Francisco Rivera Muro. A cousin is studying there, and she needs the school. Next is Andrea Flores. Hello, it was brought to the parents of the current Cody Ridge students that Cody Ridge may be closing next year. With that being said, I can name a million reasons why not to close the school that my children, your students, currently attend. We sacrificed and made the long drive every day to Coyote Ridge because of how much our children's education has bloomed since being a student at Coyote Ridge. My son is in one of the autism classrooms there and has shown tremendous improvement and growth. Prior to attending Coyote Ridge, they did attend another Gesd elementary school in which my children did not succeed or do well at all. At Coyote Ridge, my kids feel at ease knowing they know where they will be for 8 hours a day and with who, as they are familiar with a lot of the staff and are comfortable. It's so nice knowing that the front office staff knows many of the kids and parents, as well as the staff in general knows students and siblings. Without Coyote Ridge, I'm not sure where my kids would be and their education. It's a fun, safe, clean school, which is not common and hard to come by these days, and Coyote Ridge has it all. I am asking for consideration of parents, students, and Coyote Ridge staff to now close the school, as this will affect many negatively and will have a huge impact on our kids. This is like their second home as they spend a lot of time there. As a parent, we want to make sure our children's well-being and best interest are at heart, especially the education they deserve. The resource teachers are amazing and have so much patience to help our children who are in those classes. I couldn't disagree more with the possible school closure. I have had many relatives attend Coyote Ridge and have done an exceptional job at their education. Please reconsider, we as parents, students, and staff, to reconsider the possibility of the closure for Coyote Ridge. Thank you. This next one is submitted by Ellen Lambert, Patricia Scales, Crystal Carrillo, Eder Diaz-Martinez, Nathan Sheik, Lisa Cantea, and Jordan Cuffey. Dear Glendale Elementary School Board, many students lost during the pandemic could return once schools safely open. My worry is that the vote to close 5 schools could cause a future crisis of overcrowded schools. There are unanswered questions that should be answered before the decision to permanently close schools should be made. 1. When can we expect to see the budgetary savings from closing or repurposing schools? All stakeholders deserve to see a detailed cost-benefit analysis of closing schools. 2. What is the district's long-term plan to attract students in the future? How has the district involved all employees and committee members in these discussions? 3. What will the additional transportation costs be for the newly reconfigured boundaries? And 4. What are the plans for the schools set to be closed and not repurposed? I respectfully ask that you reconsider the permanent closing of schools at this time. Crystal Carrillo, this will impact families, students, teachers, and school staff. Not taking all these questions into consideration is a harmful way to make decisions. As a concerned resident and homeowner, I worry that our schools in the district are not being given a chance to thrive outside this pandemic. It is unfair to judge school performance and attendance at this time. Jordan Cuffey, as a now adult and former student of Desert Garden, Coyote Ridge, and Challenger Middle School, I know first that these schools are pillars in the community and have changed the lives of many students over the years. Hearing the plan to close schools in the district that I grew up broke my heart, sincerely. Next is Luz Ruiz. I see a new mail saying that my child's school is closing and to send my opinion here, so I think that the school should not close because it is a very good school and my daughter really likes how they teach there, so please don't close Coyote Ridge School. Thank you. Caridad Legiri. Hello, I am writing this email deeply troubled. I live in 73rd and Denton Lane and received a postcard a couple of weeks ago with the announcement that you will be having a public meeting to discuss the closure of Bicentennial North Elementary School, Coyote Ridge, and other schools. First, what an absurd idea that is, just because you don't have enough enrollments for next year. I want you I want you to think the following. Do you believe the situation will not change next year? What you have created under the excuse of COVID is not the fault of the children. They will need a safe place to go every day to learn next year or the following year or in 10 years. We are not experiencing a massive exodus of children out of our neighborhood, but all the contrary. So in 1 year from now, for the 22-23 school year, I would think we would be back to a normal life. Where are those kids going to go to school? Let me tell you, I am a homeschool mom who for 10 years have dedicated my life to teach our daughter at home. But I am blessed. I can afford not to go to work. My daughter has warm meals every day. She has a superb education as well. But I think of the 1,000 households that are going to be affected in my neighborhood. What are the moms who have to go to work going to do? How are they going to help their kids thrive without a school and a loving teacher to help their students? And what if the mom doesn't even speak English? The online learning is not good for the majority of these kids. The gap between education will widen, and you're still thinking about closing the schools. You can even have more space for the students in the classrooms and not all crammed together. You can socially distance if it is your biggest concern, but closing the school is giving up in our future. You are putting money above our kids, but I remember all that movement of Red for Ed a couple years ago, all the teachers going on strike, all for our students. But in the decision of closing the schools, there is nothing of the students, but all based on money. I know that probably to consider this is not lightly, though, but I beg you to rethink this decision. Today, you can be the hero of the children. You can say, we are going to do this for our children. We are going to keep our schools open for our future generations. You and I know that circumstances we are living right now are temporary, but giving up on our children will be a mark forever that will carry a lot of negative consequences. I have a friend in Bicentennial North who called me very sad. She is one of the teachers losing her job too. She has done her best trying to adapt to this online learning teaching. It is hard on everyone involved, but giving up should never be the first option to consider. Now, if you have considered other options, it should be wise for you to share those and to see as a community what could be a better way out. I will be attending the meeting online this coming 25th. I am eager to hear more about it. Have a blessed day. Next is Zuli Solis.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Uri Solis. Soy mamá de 2 niños que van a Coyote Ridge. Quiero, por favor, suplicarles que no cierre la escuela. Mi hijo ha ido allí desde el kinder y está muy feliz. Le encanta ir a la escuela y obviamente el personal tiene mucho que ver. A mi hijo mayor está muy entusiasmado también por ir a su primer año y me comentan lo cómodo y feliz y que está, ya que en otra escuela sufrió bullying y en la última también lo estaban molestando. Por favor, les suplico que no dejen sin Coyote Ridge. Es muy importante para nosotros. Sería muy triste. Mi hijo menor se autista y sufrió y lloró mucho cuando la semana pasada tuvo que ir a Discovery por un día, ya que ese día tuvieron un problema con la tubería del agua. Solo un día, y mi hijo se puso triste y pedía venir a su escuela. Espero consideren. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Zoli Solis. I am a mom of 2 children who go to Coyote Ridge. I want to plead with you not to close the school. My son has been going there since kindergarten. He is very happy. He loves going to school, and obviously the staff has a lot to do with it. My oldest son is also very excited about going to Coyote Ridge. During his first year, he told me how comfortable and happy he was because in another school he suffered bullying, and in the last one he was being bullied. I plead with you not to leave us without Coyote Ridge. It is very important to us. I would be very sad. My youngest son is autistic, and he suffered and cried a lot when last week he had to go to Discovery for one day because they had a problem with the plumbing that day. Only one day, and my son was sad and asked to come to his school. I hope you will consider. Thank you. Next is from Vanessa Molina. Hi, my name is Vanessa Molina, and I have 2 children who attend Coyote Ridge. We recently found out that Coyote Ridge was going to be closed. This made my girls very sad. They love their school and their teachers. I think that with this pandemic, our kids have been through enough. They were looking forward to go back to their school, and now they won't be able to. This is very upsetting. I am also a member of the Booster Club here at Coyote Ridge, and at the beginning of the school year, we purchased 2 water systems for the kids in an amount of $3,000. We also purchased a mascot costume for our school in the amount of $500. So it basically feels like all the hard work we did to earn this money to buy these things is being thrown away. The kids didn't even get a chance to enjoy them. Please consider our thoughts of closing our school. We are very much thank you. Next is Sharon Lighticote. Superintendent, Board President, and Board members, my name is Sharon Lighticote, and I am a 19-year GESD veteran teacher. I am writing to bring to your attention some concerns I have regarding the closure plans facing the GESD community. I am writing this letter as a Glendale resident and a taxpayer, more so than as a teacher, although often roles are difficult to separate. As is no secret, the Imes neighborhood is not an affluent community. With our current pandemic and economic situation, finances have been difficult for people as well as businesses in our school district. That being said, it goes without saying that these financial difficulties have been reflected in our neighborhoods through abandoned properties, forced shared habitation, and most noticeably in many areas such as the Imes Sign By-Side areas as a huge influx of homeless people. I mention these aspects because I live here in Glendale. I reside just a few streets away from By-Side North, and I experience these consequences of our circumstances every day. Why am I bringing these concerns to you? Because I am afraid that your decisions to not only close these campuses but also leave them empty is going to increase the issues I see in my neighborhoods every day. You will be adding to the available camping sites for the influx of these homeless people. You will be increasing the crime in my neighborhood while simultaneously decreasing the value of my home. All of this while I am still paying taxes that fund GESD. A second aspect that concerns me in regard to closing these facilities and leaving them empty is the cost to maintain them as they stand. They will still require running water, electricity, ground maintenance, air conditioning, and heating units to be run and maintained, as well as countless other aspects of maintaining these properties. I have not seen any breakdowns of these costs to the district taxpayers, me. I want to see what I will be paying to have empty homeless hotels in these neighborhoods. I want to know how much I will be paying to maintain empty schools. Along with the previously mentioned concerns, I would also like to see the board address the following questions. 1, when can we expect to see the budgetary savings from closing or repurposing schools? All stakeholders deserve to see detailed cost-benefit analysis of closing them. 2, what is the district's long-term plan to attract students in the future? How has the district involved all employees and community members in these discussions? 3, what will the additional transportation costs be for the newly reconfigured boundaries? And 4, how do you plan to keep the families who are upset by these closures and want to leave and go to charter schools rather than be bused to other GESD schools? And 5, how are you going to assure that the classrooms and teachers at the schools where you are planning to move students will not be overburdened? How will you keep class sizes down? Thank you for taking the time to listen to some of my concerns regarding this matter. Sincerely. Next is Bethany Reed. Good evening, GESD board members. I want to first thank you for putting forth great efforts on your behalf over the past year to govern GESD during these unprecedented times. Sincerely. I am submitting these call to public comments due to my great solicitude concerning the current welfare of our students, their families, our amazing teachers, and the future of GESD as a viable school choice option. I am a current GESD parent of 14 years at Horizon. I am also a substitute teacher within GESD, parent volunteer, and a current PTA board member. My husband has spent 22 years as an educator and administrator for students with intellectual disabilities in Arizona. It has been our choice and privilege to be a part of the GESD community. However, my confidence is waning. My concern is that, as a district, we will not be able to remain an attractive and viable option for families and staff if we do not reopen our schools promptly. Beyond the obvious lack of educational structure our students are experiencing, we cannot ignore food insecurities, potentially unsafe or ill-equipped caregivers, unattended children, and the mental strain and anxiety of our families who depend heavily on public education for stability and familial wellness, reducing the rate of domestic abuse. I respectfully request that you immediately and responsibly take steps towards redemption and reopen our doors. Trust each school's unique administration and staff to examine and meet the needs of their particular communities as they are well equipped to do. In addition, we need transparency and pertinent communication regarding possible school closures. I would ask, how will the proposed school closures specifically align with GESD's stated mission and goals? 1, will the school closures lead to ensuring each student's academic excellence and build their confidence? 2, will our highly trained and caring staff be able to confidently lead students to academic excellence by closing 3 schools and the realignment of others? 3, are we truly partnering with our families and community when we make decisions without disclosing forthright all of the benefits that they will experience from such a drastic and unsettling move? If the school closures align with our goals and mission, please do show us so we can support and come alongside your efforts for improving our district. I implore you to show us your study of how this will help us reach our goal of increasing student achievement and eliminating the achievement gap. How much real money will we be able to reallocate to increase teacher pay, maintain smaller class sizes, hire more paraprofessionals, aides, and academic advisors, increase pay for nurses, counselors, therapists, better specialized services for students with intellectual disabilities, etc.? What programs and services will GESD offer that will set us apart? We need to be attractive. We need to offer quality. Glendale, Arizona is ever expanding, and yet many Glendale residents utilize Peoria or surrounding districts as their school choice option. Most of our friends who have Glendale addresses use Peoria, charters, or private options. What will closing 3 schools and not reopening our schools now do to help improve this impediment we have developed? Thank you for your time and thought. Respectfully submitted. Next is Vanessa Booth. Good afternoon, GESD board members. I am submitting this call to the public due to my concern that GESD has continued with virtual learning. I consider GESD home. I was a GESD student as a child and have chosen this district for my children for the last 8 years. I have 5 children in grades kinder, DLIP, first, DLIP, second, DLIP, fifth, and seventh. My husband and I are actively involved in our community and are both currently on the PTA board for Horizon Elementary. I have volunteered countless hours at Horizon and have a good relationship with the teachers and administration. Our homeschool is signed, but are now into our 3rd year at Horizon. When it is said that Horizon is a school of choice, I completely agree. The staff, teachers, and administration go above and beyond for the Horizon community. They are there to support families, provide a safe and friendly environment to students, and to help students learn, grow, and achieve their goals. My children have the best teachers this year: Miss Alvarez, Miss Hanks, Miss Butwinski, and Miss Washburn, to name a few. These women have gone above and beyond for my children this school year, and I truly couldn't ask for more from them. I have spent many hours over the last few years volunteering and getting to know teachers and finding the best fit for my children. Kudos to an amazing administration that encourages families to be on campus and be a part of the Horizon community. We have worked hard to make the transition to virtual learning this school year. We are a year into it, and it has worn on us deeply. I had never thought I would have to be concerned about a child's health in regards to social and emotional learning. Going to virtual school has been more than difficult, particularly in my 5th grader. He has always been loved by his teachers. He has always excelled and done great in school and in testing. We have struggled a lot through virtual learning, but recently have witnessed a lot of defiance and self-doubt and an almost depressive mood in him. I have worked with his kind and patient teacher, Stephanie Butwinski. She truly cares for her students and has been more than available for him and I to communicate. Despite our efforts, the situation has not improved and has even gotten worse. We have reached a point where we need a change. Students need to return to the classroom again. Being that GESD has shown very little action toward returning to school in person, we have been forced to find other solutions. It is difficult to leave home, but for the health and well-being of my children, we have chosen to proceed learning at the Peoria Unified School District. It is difficult to leave the DLIP. Changing schools weighed heavily on me, knowing my children would not have this opportunity where we are going. I will always recommend Horizon. I have the best things to say about the environment the staff has created. I implored GESD move forward with getting students back into the classroom as soon as possible. The students need it and are showing their needs in rare behaviors parents are not familiar with. I am thankful I am able to be home with my children and recognize those behaviors, but for many students, the silent cry for help isn't being seen or heard. For the benefit of our children and our community, please return to in-person learning, respectfully. And we have Jane Stitzer. Superintendent Sagata Jones, School Board President, School Board members. My name is Jane Stitzer, and I'm a teacher at Isaac E. Imes Elementary School. I have taught in Glendale for 15 years, the last 8 years at Imes Elementary. One of my concerns about closing our schools is what will happen to not only our Imes and Science students when they are absorbed by other schools, but also to the students that already attend those other schools. How can the district ensure that students will receive the one-to-one attention and support they deserve when placed into schools that will be nearing their max capacities? The impact of charter schools is being considered as a factor in declining enrollment, but why is the impact of large class sizes not being addressed as well? For many years, so many of our campuses have classrooms where teachers run out of supplies, desks, and chairs because they are filled to the brim. Is it not possible that having smaller class sizes could be something that can pull students away from charter schools and back to us? The truth is that closing these schools is about saving money, but our students, our families are more than just a dollar amount. They're not just numbers, but people with hopes and dreams and friendships and relationships that were all born and cultivated in these schools. that they and their families have attended for generations. Is closing the schools in the best interest of the children we serve, or is it in the best interest of the bottom line, the pocketbook? It's been stated already that it makes no sense to throw good money after bad, but closing these schools doesn't mean that we suddenly get a huge influx of money coming back into the district. The buildings will still need to be maintained, to have electricity and water provided if we are renting those out. Security is needed to ensure that trespassers don't set up shop inside or that vandalism doesn't run rampant. This proposal will result in transportation costs rising, as they will be moving a greater amount of students around. A detailed cost benefits analysis of closing schools, taking into account all of these things above, is needed. I also hope selling the buildings is not being considered, because then there would be nothing to stop a charter school from purchasing those schools and taking the neighborhood students away from us that we just relocated to other areas. My other concern is that these public hearings are not being held in good faith. It feels wrong to hold these major discussions at this time during a pandemic when the general public couldn't attend in person, aside from tonight, due to safety restrictions. Instead, select people may attend these meetings virtually or by watching YouTube because they fear for their and their family's safety. How many community members, parents, and teachers wanted to come to this meeting tonight but did not because they are rightfully too afraid of being infected with the virus? A call to the public letter is a safe option to have one's voice heard, but it is quite a different thing when you have to face the people whom you are making decisions for face to face. Virtually, you're protected, shielded by a screen. In person, you have to look into the eyes of the people of the community and tell them their school, their community is being shut down simply because the district needs to save money. Thank you for your time and consideration of these thoughts. All right. We are now on item 3, which is our consent agenda. Do any board members wish to have anything set aside for discussion? Hearing none at this time, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Smith, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Pimentel?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion passes. At this time, we are on item 4A, GESD Health Benchmarks Update. Ms. Sagata-Jones?
Yes, good evening, Madam President, members of the board. At this time, Dr. Lafitte will provide us with our update. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, wanted to give you an update of our health benchmark data for February 25th. So when we look at our first chart, we'll see that we're starting to see a major decrease in our cases per 100,000, also in our percent positivity. Overall, COVID-like illnesses, which is a state number, is decreasing. Now it's moved into the green area. It's at a 3.8. So when we look at where we measure up against other schools in our area, we're still one of the higher schools with regards to cases per 100,000. We're at 190.32. One other school is a little bit higher than us, Alhambra, with all other schools lower than us in that category. Where you'll really start to see our numbers move. And before I move, just keep an eye on, if we look back from January 21st, we see that the number, let me go back one more. Yep. If you look back at January 21st was pretty much our peak as a district at 904.02 and 26.6. And if you look over the past few weeks or a month and a half, how those numbers have begun to decrease for us. So really keep an eye on those, as those numbers are expected to keep going down in the coming weeks. And some decisions will be made. Ms. Sagata-Jones will probably speak to that. So our next slide is per zip code, and the same kind of decrease that we've seen overall. And the one area where you see our biggest decrease is in 85302, where you'll see actually using the color coding system that's currently in place, we've seen a decrease to now we're at 149.91 in our cases per 100,000 and 8.64 in percent positivity. Based on the CDC's recommendations, the county is going to begin to make some shifts to this. So as we move towards that and those shifts take place, we'll show what those are and what that means to us as a district. And then our next chart is our daily numbers, where if you look at those daily numbers have significantly decreased, whereas a month ago, those were all in the triple digits. So there's a decrease there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lafitte. So we'll continue to do that. We're looking at projections to see. It seems that the numbers are moving very quickly to the hybrid model, to a yellow, so we'll continue to monitor those. We'll look at them again next Thursday, and then we'll make some decisions. As we discussed last time, we will be moving to a hybrid model because we have to still administer AZ Merit. AZ Merit has removed from USDOE the 95% for testing. We have sent out a survey to all of our families this week. It is due tomorrow, asking them their comfortableness of returning to school, and we'll share that. Also, all of our administrators have met with their staffs to talk about how much time would be needed to prep for them to return, meaning teachers to come back to prep as well as students. And that data is due to us tomorrow as well. And then we'll be meeting with administrators again on Friday and Monday to discuss next steps.
Any questions? Okay, moving on. We're now at item 4B, School Improvement Bonds Project of 2018, Series B, 2021.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, this time I'll turn it over to Mr. Berrigan.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Segata-Jones, we just wanted to update you on the bonds that were sold yesterday. We have in the audience Bill Davis, who's our financial advisor, and he's with Piper and Sandler and Company. I think just the timing of the sale and the challenges that we're facing, it made sense to have this conversation so that you understand really the process, because that is an important piece, but also the potential unintended consequences as we move forward. Yesterday, we did sell $50 million worth of bonds. The rate of that was 1.71%. I'm going to have Mr. Davis just briefly talk a little bit about what that process was and what it entails. We met with, and something the superintendent was a part of, we met virtually with Fitch and Standard & Poor, which is a rating agency. And just to simplify it and what their role is, think of they are like the credit agency that determine, in this case, the school district's credit worthiness. And so we spent an hour with each rating agency, and we went through a series of questions. And again, one of their requirements is do a financial analysis on the district. And so they take the prior years, the current year's audited financial statements. They're looking, and they understand Arizona. They understand the climate in Arizona, both political. They understand the pandemic situation, what's happening in Arizona. So they're very, very knowledgeable when it comes to what's happening in Arizona. And so one of those things is they noticed was our decrease in enrollment. And so one of those questions was, what is the district doing to manage its continued decline? And so I'll turn it over to Mr. Davis, just if you'll just talk about the rating agency and what that process was, both with Fitch and Standard & Poor, and maybe talk a little bit about the pros and cons and what they would consider potential downgrade. There should be a mic, and that should be on, Mr. Davis.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Segata-Jones. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. And as Mike mentioned, the district sold bonds yesterday morning through competitive sale, and we'll talk about some of the details here. I think the result was really positive. We did, over the course of the last 8 to 10 days, interest rates, as you've probably seen in the market, have been going up, and actually up by close to 0.5%. So, even though we borrowed at a 1.71%, which is just phenomenally low, it did occur after rates had kind of jumped up from nearly record lows. But again, really, really positive result. To get to that point, as Mr. Berrigan was mentioning, and to sell bonds in the capital markets, all the district and all issuers, whether it's the state of Arizona, city of Phoenix, or Glendale Elementary School District, need to go to the bond rating agencies. And we approached both Fitch and Standard & Poor's, and they look at the district, in a very broad kind of credit review. They look at enrollment, they look at your financials, your balance sheet, just history and, projections, trends, demographics of the area, state funding, they kind of look at everything. And really, as you can imagine, if you sat in the analyst chair, put the analyst hat on, there's certain strengths and certain weaknesses that every school district, every issuer in the state has, and we talk through them, we talk about them. We've had a relationship with these rating agencies and in many cases those analysts for years, and it's a very solid relationship, and they've grown to trust the district staff, and the communication that comes out of these meetings. So they're very detailed, very in-depth. They do have a lot of similarities, but there are some differences too, and I think to what Mr. Berrigan was alluding to, Fitch takes a look at Arizona general obligation bonds, which are the school improvement bonds that you sold. As you know, they're authorized by the voters, and they're paid for from your secondary property tax levy. Fitch looks at that a little differently than both S&P and Moody's, the other two primary rating agencies, in that about 10 years ago we were successful in getting legislation changed. This is following the bankruptcies in Detroit and over, I think, in California, a couple municipal bankruptcies. The statutory changes incorporated a special revenue designation and a statutory lien on that secondary property tax, so that in the event of bankruptcy, the bondholders have more protection because of that secondary property tax pledge. With that, and you can see if you turn to page 4, this is kind of a high-level summary. You can see right about in the middle left page the ratings for Fitch, AA+. That's kind of reflective of their feeling of that additional statutory security versus the S&P rating of A+. The A+ is a very good rating. You get, for both Fitch and S&P, it goes from single A to double A to AAA, which is the highest possible rating. So that AA+ is just right below that AAA. And investors look at this from across the country, and it allows them to kind of compare your bonds to, say, bonds from a school district in California or, back east. So, Mike,
just wanted you to speak into the mic. But what I want you to get out of this presentation is really both with Fitch and Standard & Poor's said that if the district can't address its financial challenges, it more likely will downgrade the district's bonds. And so what I'd like for you to leave here knowing is that should that occur, and should we not be able to address our financial challenges, the next time the district sells bonds, that interest rate that we're borrowing money, that you, the voter, the taxpayer, that 171% will increase. To what levels, only time will tell. But that rating that both Fitch and S&P have will be downgraded, which makes us pay more when we borrow money. So I just want you to really think about the various complexities. Not only have you heard tonight of, concerns, but these are also concerns that you should be fully aware of, because this will have implication as we sell bonds in the future as well. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have, and that really kind of concludes our presentation.
Does anybody have any questions? Here, thank you. At this time, we are on item 5A. It is an action item. It's a resolution.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, the Government Board will consider taking action to approve the adoption of the anti-racism resolutions as presented.
Okay, this item was brought forward by Ms. Pimentel.
Thank you. At the last board meeting, we had in front of us several examples of different resolutions, and we discussed what we have in front of us today as a final, hopeful draft of what I'd like to see. And I believe that we all pretty much agreed that this is something that we don't just sign and shelve, we live it, and it's a living document that we uphold as leaders in the district. So if everybody's read it and agrees with it, I would like to motion that we sign this today. Does anybody have any issues or questions as to what I brought forward?
Okay. Hearing none. Do we have a motion? We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Ms. Smith, how do you vote?
I'm going to explain my vote. My vote is no. And the reason that mine is a no is I feel this is political. The second reason is resolutions aren't the role of the board. And then I feel like our board has a systemic problem when more affluent districts are open, and our district is furthering the gap by not having in-person school.
Ms. Pimentel?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
I will vote aye, but like I stated last time, we as a board need to really be laser focused on equity and how to best help all of our students at all levels. So with that being said, the resolution passes. We're now on item 6A, future meetings and agenda item requests.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, the next governing board meeting is boundary changes, school closures, and repurposing, scheduled for March 11th. It would be my recommendation you do a study session prior to that board meeting.
Personally, I would prefer if we as a board could have a study session within a few days before that or even the week before that. That way we hear the update, all the facts, everything that's going to be coming to us tonight. Get the information so we have a chance to process it. I do not like the idea of going into a meeting with a study session first and then being immediately asked to vote on it without having the chance to process.
Let me remind you of the community meetings. They're March 1st, 2nd, 4th, 8th, and 9th. When would you like to have the study session? March 1st is Byside North, March 2nd, Desert Garden, March 4th is Coyote Ridge, March 8th is Sign, and March 9th is Imes. So that would give you March 10th.
Does anybody have any objection to the 10th?
No, I'm good with the 10th.
Okay.
It works for me.
I'm good with the 10th.
Do we want it at 5:30? Or do we want to have it a little bit earlier?
I'm flexible.
Do what?
I'm flexible with time.
Okay. So if we can make sure, if anybody has any concerns with time, please notify Liz.
What time did you decide?
5:30? 5:30 good with everybody?
I will actually defer to district administration because I don't want to step on something that may already be scheduled or a prior commitment. I know we're all kind of free and flexible, so if there's a time that works for you.
Okay.
5:30 is fine.
Anybody else have any items that they wish to have added to agendas?
I do. I think part of that study session, I would like us to discuss a community task force, especially discussing phase 2 schools. And I also, at that study session, would like to see the questions that have been brought forth to us about like our budget plan, involving the community, transportation costs of maintaining closed buildings, and our survey results at that time also.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. I know definitely if our trajectory continues, we definitely want to start having the conversation of knowing when and how to get our schools back open. All right. We're on 7A, current events, superintendent report.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'll be brief. We want to recognize our Just Because for the last 2 months. We had Jessica Leisure, she's an employee at our purchasing and warehouse. We had Heba Faraz, she is a instructional aide at Desert Garden, and we had Javier Ramirez Benalonza, and he was a student at Discovery, and we were able to, with the support of Gusto, honor those employees and students. We have one more student, and we will be meeting with him next Tuesday, and that's exciting for us, so we appreciate that. Joe de la Huerta, our principal at Desert Garden, is advancing to the final round of consideration for the Maricopa County Exemplary Principal Award. And then just a reminder, Read Across America, March 2nd. I know some of you have recorded readings, and we greatly appreciate that. And then thank you to Lee Rosenthal from Peter Piper for his donation that he always gives to our frontline workers. We appreciate that. Other than that, that concludes my report.
Okay. We're on 7B, governing board report. Ms. Smith?
Nothing.
Okay. Ms. Pimentel?
I don't have anything tonight.
Ms. Wilson?
No, nothing.
Okay. Mr. Martinez?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, congratulations and thank you to everybody involved over the last month. But I would like our community to please understand not a single one of us is looking forward to the dilemma that we are facing. And we do it with the utmost respect as we move forward. With that being said, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, I need to motion to reconvene the meeting for the purpose of the public hearing.
I'll move to reconvene.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Smith, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Pimentel?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. At 5:30 p.m., the meeting will recess for the purpose of holding a public hearing to receive public comments from affected residents regarding proposed school closures, boundary changes, and/or repurposing of schools in accordance with ARS 15-341.32 and 15-341.37. Due to COVID-19, the number of individuals allowed in the meeting at one time will be limited. A live stream of the meeting will be available to members of the public awaiting entry to make comments during the hearing. Members of the public must be present to submit comments, and speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Should I read this now? The purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comments from affected residents.
Madam President, if I may, you will read that once they enter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comments from affected residents regarding proposed school closures, boundary changes, and/or the repurposing of schools. Please remain seated 6 feet apart while each person who wishes to speak is provided the opportunity to comment. You will have no more than 3 minutes to speak. Per policy, during this time, there will be no response from the governing board members. Once you are finished speaking, please exit the boardroom to the right. Thank you.
Testing. El propósito de esta audiencia pública es recibir los comentarios públicos de los residentes afectados en referencia a los cierres de las escuelas propuestos, los cambios de límites residenciales y la reutilización de las escuelas. Por favor, permanezcan sentados a 6 pies de distancia mientras cada persona que desee hablar tiene la oportunidad de hacer sus comentarios. No tendrán más de 3 minutos para hablar. Por política, durante este tiempo no habrá respuestas de los miembros de la Junta Directiva. Una vez que ustedes hayan terminado de hablar, por favor salgan a la derecha de la sala de la Junta Directiva hacia la derecha. Gracias.
Can Gracie Navarrete come to the stand, please? Just come up to one of the microphones right there. Okay, then.
Testing.
Okay. Virginia Gallegos.
My name is Virginia Gallegos, and I am. My children went to Burton School. I don't have any kids right now that are going to any schools in Glendale, but I am a concerned citizen that this is going to be affecting our community, our Latino community. And since, and the fact that that we just found out recently that you all are considering closing our schools without any prior notice to the community so that we can give some feedback. This is, I mean, we're just here right now, and it seems like we're just here telling you what our concerns are, but it's not going to help because it seems like you're just going to do it right away. Yeah, I mean, like in March, you're thinking you're going to be closing it down, and where's the feedback from the community? This is not enough. This is not enough. That's my concern is that you're going to be closing down our schools so that you can send them to charter schools, to other schools, charter schools that are not even reliable. They're, I've heard too many bad things about charter schools, that they're taking our monies and they're not opening up. Whatever is going on in the charter schools is not good. And what I'm thinking is that you're gonna close down our schools, and our students are going to be shipped to other schools, and there's going to be a lot of students there. And I mean, if they're lagging, the students are lagging behind in their studies, and then for them to have a teacher that won't be able to cater to them on one-on-one, that's my concern. Also my concern, because of the charter schools, they have no accountability with funding, and they're going to be shutting down our students also. I mean, what's going to happen with our students? I'm terribly against this. Where is the funding for our schools? Where is it? You guys got money for the schools? Where is it? Are Isaac Imes to begin with? Come on. There is something not right about this, and you guys need to reconsider not closing our schools, because this is not the last you'll hear from us.
Thank you. Is it Martine Nikowski? Sorry if I mispronounced that.
No, you didn't. Good evening. My name is Martin Nowakowski. I'm a concerned community member. I am asking that this process and decision for school closures be immediately stopped. This process came to your school community, these people here tonight, without any warning, like a thief in the night. The timing of this decision couldn't have come at a worse time. We are going through a horrible pandemic. There is no parent involvement at schools, such as PTOs, no student involvement through discussions with student councils, student advisory boards, no parent or student surveys conducted through the schools. This process cannot continue until the school budget receives a forensic audit that addresses the perception of a top-heavy administration where it is believed that you have too many full-time employees. I would like you to compare staffing during the highest time of student enrollment and your employee numbers right now. What were they back then? Also, in terms of too many cooks in the Glendale Elementary kitchen, why is it that some schools share the same land area but have different administrations running them, such as Bicentennial North and Bicentennial South? It's only divided by a field. In William C. Jack and Mendick schools that share the same campus, same library and media center, in terms of budget, what are the costs going to be for transportation, for buses, for maintenance, repairs, hiring new bus drivers, gas? The list goes on with that. It's a big budget expense. I also have questions about the enrollment numbers declining at schools. Could it be that parents are opting to send their kids to distant learning? You have a Glendale Elementary online. Instead of virtual learning from their home school, how many students from like Isaac Imes, Coyote Ridge, have opted to go to Glendale Elementary online? And when this pandemic and in-person student return to in-classroom, how will those numbers impact the school too? I bet they'll increase. I don't truly understand classroom size if schools close and students are transported to other schools. Will the size exceed 30 students? See, smaller class sizes are not a bad concept, especially for underperforming schools where teachers can pay attention to struggling students, instead of having these struggling students be passed on to next year's teacher. Why does it seem that new teachers who don't make it past the holiday season here? This process must be stopped until the perception that Glendale Elementary caters to the influence of wealthier neighborhoods that outweigh that of lower income areas. When she said, why start at Imes, I agree. Can I have 30 seconds?
We have to do the 3 minutes, please.
Why is it that students come out of Manistee Ranch neighborhood attend Horizon School in the northern part of the district when Landmark is walking distance away? The optics tell us the decision is income status. The process that includes school closures must be immediately stopped until this process is absolved of any Glendale Elementary School District blame, guilt, and responsibility for showing a lack of social, cultural, and economic best interest of the most underserved, marginalized, and most discriminated population within your school district boundary. Any decision moving forward that includes the closure of Isaac Imes Community School, the heart of that community you're about to rip out, otherwise historically named the Mexican school, or those kids from that neighborhood, it only exacerbates the community belief that the students and families of this school area was never and will never be on equal social, economic, and cultural footing with other schools in the district. To the board members present here tonight, you have a hard decision. We, the community present here today, are asking you to make the right decision for all the right reasons. Thank you. Stop this process. Keep Isaac Imes open. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Ariel Trevino.
Yes, good evening. My name is Mario Treviso. Madam President and members of the board, I would like to start by first thanking you for taking time to listen to the community's questions and concerns. I am a parent whose child attends Coyote Ridge. Within the past couple months, I found out that Glendale Elementary School District is looking to close several schools in the district, Coyote Ridge being one of them. To my understanding, the reason behind the school closure is due to decreased enrollment and budget hardships. I am asking Madam President and members of the board to hold off on this major decision. Students are not attending school at this time due to the pandemic, but will soon gradually start filling up classrooms. Making the decision to close at this time is unfair to the students and parents of the community. Within a mile and a half from Coyote Ridge is a new home development with over 1,000 homes being built. How can the school board consider to close down Coyote Ridge without knowing how many new students the new home development will be bringing to the community? If Coyote Ridge is closed, the schools that are left open will now have to oversee their current enrolled students along with Coyote Ridge and students from the new home development. I can only imagine how overcrowded the classrooms will be in the schools that are left open, now having to oversee possibly 3 times the amount of students that are currently enrolled at that school. Overcrowded classrooms will stress teachers out and cause conflicts between students in the classrooms. Once again, I ask Madam President and members of the school board to please hold off on making this decision to close schools before schools get back on track. Members of the community elected you as part of the school board in hopes that you have the best interest for the students and parents who live in Glendale. Parents are asking you to keep schools open, not to close them. Thank you, Madam President and members of the board, for your time.
Thank you. Angelica Martins.
Hi, my name is Angelica Mertens. Good evening. Before I get started, I wanted to thank all the teachers and principals that have done amazing jobs in trying to help our kids through this really horrific pandemic. They've done an outstanding job, and I don't think they get enough recognition for it. That being said, I want to get to the issue at hand. I myself have grown up in the Glendale community system. I've gone from Bicentennial to Independence High School. With that being said, I've seen how big some of these schools are. My 3 girls attend Desert Garden, and knowing that, I know they'll be pushed down to Challenger. I went to Challenger. There's not enough room to make it a K through 8 school. We have an open field and that's it. There's nothing for them to do. It is extremely hot during the summer when we're supposed to eat lunch and then go and stand on the field. I think that putting a school as big as Desert Garden and making it nothing but preschool is a wrong decision. I think we should sit there and keep Bicentennial North open and make that your paid preschool. I think Desert Garden should be left alone along with Challenger. I don't understand how there could be a problem with children being kept in when my daughter's kindergarten class last year had 28 students in one class. My second grader had to be put in temporary classrooms because there was not enough classes to hold all the students. I ask, what is this going to do to our property value? When we have new houses being put in, what are they going to say if you come in and try to buy a house and there's no schools available? I don't want my kids to be lost in an overcrowded system. I don't want to have to push them to a different district because I cannot afford to put them in private school or charter schools. I put out a lot of money towards Desert Garden for field trips. We've donated umbrellas to help the staff and students stay warm and dry when they need to. And we've put in for many other things. I don't want to have our funding pulled from this district. I've loved this district, and that's why I've kept my family in it. When we talked about closing schools, what has happened to the staff? Do the staff get repurposed, or do they just lose their jobs? I know that Desert Garden principal is an amazing principal, and they have an amazing staff there. I would hate to see that they lose their jobs just because we think that we can't keep these schools open, or that we need to repurpose them into a healthcare system. Isn't there a better way for us to sit there and give back to our community, especially when all the bonds and bills have been passed? With new housing being put in, I'm not understanding why we have to close schools so soon. The pandemic has put a wrench in many plans, and I don't see how you can get numbers of what's coming in with this year's prognosis. I thank you for all your time and all your efforts in trying to fix and holding this meeting to begin with. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Escudero. Would also be with Bianca Levano. Did we lose two people? Maria Escudero. In the meantime, Gracie, do you feel ready to speak?
Right here? Hi, I'm Maria Escudero. I'm representing IMES. IMES is really sentimental value to me. My grandparents went there. My parents went there. All my nieces to my 7-year-old niece goes there to this day. Well, they're not in school. I don't know why people keep attacking our schools. I mean, they're predominantly in Hispanic areas, and you want to bust these kids out to where they have no clue or what they're going to be. And then you're affecting their education. What if they can't get there? What if they can't get to the bus stops? You're going to come back for them? What? Why don't you just wait? Go to the public. Let the public speak. What these schools mean into these areas. Ours, it means a lot. We have a church, we have a school. This is our little area. All I ask is give feedback. Go to the community. And whatever we need to do, because we're not going to go quietly. We're all going to stand. We just found out a couple of weeks ago that you guys were planning to shut it down. And I got discharged from the hospital, and I'm here today asking you, and God hopefully touches your heart, and give us a chance to speak. Let us show you how much our school means to me, to us, to our community. I have a niece here. She goes to that school. They don't get any funding to get their school sports stuff. They raise money for their stuff. So all of them are predominantly Hispanic areas. I just ask that, give us a chance. We'll show you how much it means to our community. I just ask that you wait and get some more information. Your budgets. You guys got money, pandemic money, bond money, where is it? You know, you put them in all these other schools, but what about our schools? What about IMES? We have students raising money for sports supplies, school supplies. All I'm saying is, I'm here to save IMES, and we're not going to go quietly. You keep hearing from us. And next time it's just going to be more and more, because the more we're going to keep pushing people to get the word out. You know, it can't. You can't close the school. It's a pandemic. They're sending all these kids parents need to work. They're sending them to charter schools. If Catholic schools, charter schools can open, why can't we? That's all I'm asking. Give us time. Rethink about it. And, be open in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Flores Kilanowski. I apologize if I mispronounced that.
That's all right. Our two sons went to Horizon School, and I was very satisfied with the teachers and the budget. The budget was always intact and everything like that. And I don't know, what is the problem now with these schools? And I was always satisfied, and they went to Apollo, they went to the Glendale Community College, and the teachers were good and everything, but I don't know what the problem is with the budget now. That's what I'd like to know, but they shouldn't close all these schools because people like to be, in other words, I'm a taxpayer, and my taxes are more for schools than anything else, and I'd like to see my money productive. That's what I would like to see, and that's why I'm really concerned. My one son is a teacher. My other son has a good college education, and he's a professional person now. And their teachers at Horizon were wonderful. They encouraged them and everything. But I don't know what the problem is with the budget now, and like with this in-person procedure now. Some districts are in person. Why is not Glendale in person? And like Kathy Hoffman said, it's up to the district. But that's not fair. If one school district can be in person, why can't our Glendale Elementary School District be in person? And that's what's my qualm. And then my neighbors works at Alhambra, and he's a PE teacher. Monday, Tuesday, they go to school. Wednesday, they get the school sprayed. He's home. Then Thursday and Friday, they go to school. So why can't we have some kind of procedure like that? But I think in-person learning is very important because some students can get it on computer, and some just need that personal attention. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. John Torres.
Good evening, and God bless everyone. President and board members and faculty, thank you for allowing us to come and share our sentiments, how we feel about this. I'm upset, I'm not going to lie. Brenda, we've done a lot of work. Mary Ann, Mike, Cindy, we're serving food with the kids in the community. 2 years. Get very involved. I'm a lifetime Glendalian. I've lived here all my life. I attended Isaac E. Imes and Melvin E. Sign. It just behooves me how you guys can make decisions without any input or letting the public or the people know, what's going on, how you guys are doing the process that you guys are doing this. How can you live with yourselves? You know what I'm saying? We've worked very hard to keep that school open. In 2009, when you guys were going to close Isaac Imes, we had over 400 people that responded. They showed up to the meetings. You know what the president did then, Mr. Samaniego? He had the meetings there in the community and got the feedback from the people and let them hear, so that you guys can hear them, hear their cry. These kids, I got shifted in 78 from Isaac Imes. They closed us down because they had a restructuring, and they send us to Melvin East Sign, and they send us to Landmark and to Harold W. Smith. You know what happened? Riots and fights. It was ugly because they didn't know each other. First of all, you're coming from this side of town, you're going to this side of town. I can tell you guys don't understand that because you don't live in the hood. I grew up in the projects right there at Isaac E. Imes. You know, and it's horrible. There's no transparency. You said you had no money. You just had the 2018 bond. You know, you guys in 2015 were painting and redoing the gym because I was having church. I'm a pastor as well. And I was having church there with Kathy Rudisell at Isaac E. Imes. I was renting the facility, and I had to move. I went to Rose Lane. And we're there working hard to help these kids that are in need. It's the highest crime rate, highest poverty level. It's not only been this pandemic with their suffering, the trauma that's causing, and now you're closing down their schools. Don't do it. Let's find other solutions. Let's help the communities out. Thank you. God bless you.
Juan Arita.
Good evening, board members, superintendent. I know each of you have a hard decision to make. There's a lot of input from the community that you guys are going to be listening to. I want to first give you kudos for making hard decisions, even though they're not likable many times, but hard decisions must be made. And at the same time, I want to give you guys, say thank you for keeping our kids, our teachers healthy as much as you guys can, right? Because sometimes the inevitable happens and one of the teachers gets sick or a kid gets sick. But I think based on the pandemic, you guys have made most of the proper decisions up to this point. But I want to talk to you guys about some of the things that are going on within our community for the schools that are you guys have in mind about closing. I don't know how you guys want to be perceived by the community, if it is as a builders to the community, build a better community, or if you guys want to deteriorate the community. The idea behind closing the schools sometimes are not the ideal thing to have in mind. I don't know if you guys want to compete with the charter schools, or if you guys want to stay afloat. What is your objective? I don't know. You are the only ones that know. Okay? There's some rumors that all of this is based on budget. To be quite honest with you, it can be perceived that way because I've seen myself personally how the budget is spent within the district, and sometimes I'm not very happy. I've seen many schools that, in my view, that are in better areas than other schools get repainted 2-3 times a year. Then the other schools that are in less favorable areas are less touched, less looked at, less invest on. But regardless of that, I want you to know this. The community is growing. The need to keep a school open is growing. Based on the numbers, the Phoenix metro area is known as a hot commodity area where people are moving in. If you look and drive around, you're going to see a lot of housing being built up. For that, there will be families moving in. Families will have kids. Those kids will need to go to school. For you to think about closing schools, come on, it makes no sense. Now, how are you guys competing with charter schools? To be quite honest with you, I have my son at a charter school, and unfortunately, the best experience he has had is being within the Glendale Elementary School District with you guys. And I want that to continue on, not only for my son, but as well as for the other kids they deserve.
I need you to
Right
finish, sir.
now, I understand that, but I hate to be, give me just one more minute. Right now, we are pushing very hard, okay, on the same mantra that you guys have, all in for the kids. Just think about it, all in for the kids. Right now, everyone is pushing for the schools to open up, to remain open, for teachers to go back into the schools, because these kids need the help. Consider this. How do you want to be perceived by the community? As builders or as destroyers? Have a good evening.
Thank you. Jamie Aldama, please.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for allowing the speakers prior to me extra time to finish their speech. That's really appreciated. I'm a little taken back this evening with the fact that the reporter wasn't allowed to be in here today to record everything. I'm sure there's minutes they can get, but I asked if they were allowed her in. They didn't let her in. They put her at the end of the list, so taken back on that. Taken back that there's 30 employees out there with vests on. It's really, it really causes suppression, and families are intimidated coming here. Some of them are driving by and saying, I ain't going there. So really taken back on that today, but thank you for your service, each one of you, for serving this community. I appreciate you. I know firsthand the sacrifices you put forth. And I'm speaking today on a private citizen, not in any other capacity, just for the record. Your proposal to close 5 schools is absurd. Closing 2 predominantly Hispanic schools in a neighborhood that has one of the highest rates of poverty, with more than half of the residents in the area living below the federal poverty level, is discriminatory. The neighborhood residents are about 98% Hispanic and Spanish-speaking, further exacerbating the harm caused by the school closures. This has federal lawsuit all over it. Please read up on El Paso Elementary School District, who tried to close 2 schools, ended up in federal law, and they didn't close the schools. The children who will be relocated will bear the blunt of the transitions and are impacted the most, while other schools remain open, receiving funding to remain open. Your plan and actions are discriminatory and lack transparency. Conducting a school closure during a worldwide pandemic when families are confined or quarantined to their homes is cruel and takes advantage of the fact that families cannot respond or engage. It's quite shameful. We are in a worldwide pandemic. We should not be doing this. Neither one of you, none of you, in this dais or up there, are part of the immediate community of Isaac E. Imes or Melvin E. Sines. None of you. You've never walked in those communities. You don't know the families. You do not represent those families by your actions going forward with this process. I can't predict the future. None of us can. However, what I feel will happen is you will close these 2 schools, and magically you will find a solution to not close the other 3, further causing discriminatory acts in these communities. These are predominant Hispanic communities, Spanish-speaking neighborhood schools that parents walk their children to school. You are decimating a community. Walk in their shoes. I've walked in their shoes. I don't feel anybody here is representing these people. You don't just close schools. You don't. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Bobby Casares.
Good evening. I would like to thank the superintendent and the board. I'm going to make this fast. We want this process to end. It's totally unfair. It's very discriminatory. It's the most racist thing. I have been an activist since the 70s. I have fought against injustice. I'm the one that led the charge when we wanted to stop light rail from coming through the community because it was going to disrupt Isaac Imes. It was going to knock the church down. I'll tell you what I told him. That day will never come. This school board better recognize something. Your problem started 5 years ago. Had you not played politics in November, and you would have told the people, you know what, we're going to be closing 5 schools, no one would have voted for your bonds. We won't vote in the future and support the school if you close these schools down. There's plenty of money. What happened to the pandemic money? Biden's over here giving away money. Billions of dollars, it was announced today, is going to be given to the schools. Okay? That is one of the most important things. I went to Isaac Imes, and then I came to Unit 1. We were the first Hispanics to live. I lived down the street here. We were first Hispanics over here, and we'd get stopped because we were Hispanic. You don't belong here. I live here. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Now, we have you guys wanting to close down schools when there is money. You could find a solution. We're not the enemy, but we're not going to let our children suffer. The pandemic, these meetings should be halted, and a lot of us are in agreement. We're going to have a massive rally and protest in the community in March to let everybody, and we're going to invite all the media to let them know how horrible this is. You lied to the public in November. Didn't tell them that we're going to be closing schools. Nobody would have voted. I've talked to people out here that said we would have never voted for the bonds. And we won't in the future if they do this. Look, it's very simple. Like many have said here, the North Side has always had preference. The Hispanic, anything in the Hispanic community, we have to fight for it. Maria, who spoke earlier, I know all these families because I grew up there. I'm an activist. We have told them, we will stop this process even if it goes through litigation, which you guys will have to pay for. We will not allow you to close these schools when you know there's a lot of funding, the money that's being given to you by the government. What are you going to do when Biden is allowing all these people to come across the border? There will be 1 million people here by June, I saw last night on the national news. 1 million people. They already have shelters set up in downtown Phoenix for these people in anticipation of their arrival. Okay, so we need to stop and think about it. Remember what President Kennedy said, if you see a wrong, make it right. This is your opportunity to stop this. Let the pandemic pass, and we want a meeting held. We want you to see. I had a meeting, had 130 people show up, including the business owners. And one last thing here. I want you to really think about the kids with mental illness, the autistic kids, the kids that are used to a structure of the same routine every day, the teachers, the familiarity with the schools. I haven't heard anybody mention, how is this affecting the kids? We know that it's already affected them because they're not even on Zoom anymore. Our kids are at a total disadvantage. We need your help. You're leaders. You need to look at it and say, how is this going to affect the kids? But you guys haven't addressed that. So please think about the whole picture. We're not going to give up that school. We're going to fight for it. And as it goes on, we're going to bring in the National Hispanic Organization. I think Biden's people will probably join up on this because they'll say, oh, you know what, this is racist. This is discriminatory. That's what it really, really is. Please open your hearts to these students. Give them an opportunity to grow, to learn, to be a part. You're role models. Please remember that we do care about you. We do care what happens to our kids. Give us a little bit of opportunity. Call these meetings off until the pandemic ends, and we want the next meeting to be held at Isaac Imes. I can assure you I will have 1,000 people there for you. And they'll be nice and respectful, but there'll be over 1,000 people. We've set up websites. We're setting up an organization like you will not believe, just because people, and Bianca here will be telling you, she got 200 people to sign a petition in just 2 days. People are asking us, what's your website? We want to join the fight. They said, we want people from all 5 schools to be represented. Thank you very much. God bless. Hope that, like I say, remember President Kennedy's words. Take this wrong and make it right. And others that have spoken, you have a responsibility to the community. We're there to support you, support us. We need you right now. Thank you.
We have Mayra Gonzalez, and she will need interpretation, Spanish interpretation.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Yo vengo representando a todas las mamás, a muchísimas mamás de la Desert Garden. Nosotros estamos bien contentos con nuestra escuela. Nos sentimos tan felices con nuestro principal, con nuestros maestros. Son maravillosos. Mis 5 niños han cursado la Desert Garden y con mi corazón les vengo a pedir que hagan todo lo que puedan para que no cierren nuestra escuela. Nosotros queremos seguir llevando a nuestros niños pequeños de preschool a 3er año. Mi niña pequeñita está cursando kinder y mis otros niños ya están en la Challenger, y yo pienso que los niños pequeños están más seguros con niños pequeños, todos de la misma edad. O sea, pensar que si los ponen con niños más grandes, claro que estarán bien, pero pienso que están mucho mejor con niños pequeños como lo han estado hasta ahora. Y está muy bien nuestra escuela. No sé la razón que estamos pidiendo las mamás, que no la cierren, que estamos felices, que hagan todo lo posible. Queremos seguir llevando a nuestros niños pequeños a nuestra Desert Garden. Y el señor principal y todos los maestros de la Desert Garden son personas que le echan muchas ganas, que la escuela la tienen muy bien. Yo he visto cómo el señor de la huerta ha resuelto problemas. Son personas que tienen mucha calidad haciendo su trabajo como maestros, y pues que hagan todo lo posible para que no cierren nuestras escuelas. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Ms. Navarrete.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm here representing all the mothers at Desert Garden. I am the principal there and the staff. They do a wonderful job, and they have always treated our kids great. I have had 5 kids going there. Presently I have a kindergartner. All my other kids have also gone to Challenger. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to mix the younger kids with the older kids, but nevertheless, Mr. De La Huerta has done a wonderful job with the staff, and they always put a lot of effort in making sure our kids get the best education. I see how the kids there are very, very happy. So if you could do anything you can not to close the school, and continue to support the principal and the teachers. Thank you.
Gracie Navarrete.
Good afternoon. Good evening. I'm having a hard problem talking because of my breathing. I'm very sorry. I'm very against you closing the schools.
Excuse me, madam, would you like a seat to sit?
No, I'm fine. Okay. My kids have been going to school since 1991. In the past years, we have picked up kids that were abandoned, were from drug parents. We supported him, my husband, with his job. And if we wouldn't have the help of our teachers in our schools, I wouldn't have been able to get him with CPS. My school is across the street. It's Harold W. Smith. Those teachers were beautiful with all the kids I had. I had 17 boys in a 1-bedroom house. I'm serious, and I adopted 9 of them. With my husband's small shop, we were able to afford these children to go to school. And if it wouldn't have been the help of these teachers, with all what they have done for these kids, I wouldn't have been able to have them, because the school was right across the street. My youngest one was 2 years old. Now he's 22. I'm just saying is that to close these schools, the majority is Hispanic, and we may not have money, but they have the want to learn and be united. And that's all you're going to do is take it away. What is my property going to be worth now? I did not ask the state to fund these kids. We supported them. Now, what is that school going to give my house if I would sell it? It would give them nothing. These teachers that I've known for a long time, I've been here in the governing board. I went and we got payment instead of the back thing for the tennis court. I mean the basketball court. It just, I've done things for the school. I was president for the PTO for 5, 6 years, 7 years. Because the Hispanics don't know how to do a lot of that, we had to go out there and pull them in. We raised money for our schools. For what? For you to take it away? That's all the kids have is their memories. And that's what we're saying. All we need to do is leave our schools alone. The teachers want to come back. I know too many public schools, charter schools, that they have 22 in there. 22, and they're asking 10 kids to be in Glendale. I don't know where you guys are getting your math, but honest to God, this is unfair. I'm here. I just came out of the hospital. I heard this. I wish you would stop and think what you're doing to the community, because it's destroying it. That's all they have. And I'm serious. When they talk about protests, they will. And that's what we don't want, to make people more angry than they're going through the paramedic right now. So many parents wanted to come, but they're afraid because they're Hispanic. That's why they came to me. They came to my house because I'm sorry, I'm a whistleblower. I am. I talk for the teachers, and I talk for the community. And I'm sorry I couldn't get up earlier, but I'm barely doing it. I'm just letting you know that all my kids went to school, and if it wouldn't have been for those teachers to give that little bit of time and love for them, they would have been lost. So I'm just letting you know. My daughter is a sheriff. My son worked in the prison. I got my son-in-law as a border agent. So let me tell you, all you have to do is open your heart and know that these kids will succeed. And that's why me and my husband took all these kids in, because we know that nobody talks about kids and teachers, and they've been through a lot. And I don't know about the money. All I know is that we cannot close our schools. That's what I'm begging you guys, honest to God. Prayer is a lot, and maybe that's what we need to do. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I don't think so. Unless I'm missing something.
Hi, my name is Bianca Lovano. I am a student at Isaac E. Imes. I'm an 8th grader. And you guys want to close 5 schools that are a majority of Hispanic. This leads to overcrowding in the other schools and will leave many without employment. Parents will have to adjust their schedules to and from the bus stops. Overcrowding classrooms will stress teachers out and cause more conflicts between students in the classrooms. This will lead to more kids failing the test and not getting the education they need. This will also mean more kids disrupting classroom time. Shutting down the schools is not what we need in our community. You should never just shut down a school due to low enrollment. Think about the students and all the staff this will affect. All the staff will affect this decision. Everyone should think about what's more important. We need the community to come together at this historic time. It takes a village to make a difference, so don't... Oh, sorry guys, that was it. You guys' motto is it's all for the students, but is it really if you guys are gonna just shut down our schools? That's all I have. Thank you.
If we could then wipe down, please. Ms. Baker, do you have another list?
I do have another list. I'm going to bring them in right now.
We need to wipe down first, so will you let them know we're wiping down? Thank you.
Okay. Good evening. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comments from affected residents regarding proposed school closures, boundary changes, and/or the repurposing of schools. Please remain seated 6 feet apart while each person who wishes to speak is provided the opportunity to comment. You will have no more than 3 minutes to speak. Per policy, during this time, there will be no response from the governing board members. Once you are finished speaking, please exit the boardroom to the right. Thank you. Our first speaker, sorry.
Buenas tardes. El propósito de esta audiencia pública es recibir los comentarios públicos de los residentes afectados en referencia a los cierres de escuelas propuestos, los cambios de límites residenciales y o la relocalización de las escuelas. Por favor, permanezcan sentados 6 pies de distancia mientras cada persona que desee hablar tiene la oportunidad de hacer sus comentarios. No tendrá más de 3 minutos para hablar. La política, durante este tiempo, no habrá respuestas de los miembros de la Junta Directiva. Una vez que ustedes hayan terminado de hablar, por favor salgan de la sala de Junta Directiva hacia la derecha. Gracias.
Thank you. Our first family of Mary Torres. Michael Hernandez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I think the community is first is emotional plea to keep the schools open, and what we request is to postpone of the meetings until you actually organize the meetings in the neighborhoods that you're closing the schools at. We're asking a review of the budgets for the last 4 years, forensic audit of the budget also, request transparency, again, to have the school board members conduct meetings in the neighborhoods, 2 to 3 for each school. My thing is that kids are not attending physically or not attending school. So in August, you're going to ask them to go back to school if everything turns out all right. And their school's going to be closed. You're going to bus them to a whole new neighborhood, new friends, new school teachers. Their mental status is up, is an issue with that. Again, we're asking you to postpone that until we see the budgets. The bonds were passed, you got more money, you got pandemic monies. We want to see if you have used some of that money to refurbish these schools that you're closing, and what are you going to do, and why did you refurbish these schools if you're going to close them? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Okay.
you. What do you?
Next speaker is Rachel Johnston.
Hello. I want to recognize how much work this is. My father-in-law is Steve Johnston, who served on this board for many years, and our family loves this district deeply. I'm sorry, I didn't expect to get emotional. We have loved having our children in this district. When my father-in-law invested his time to serving on this board, he did not know that he would have grandchildren who would be going to these schools as well. My children are not affected directly by this change. We go to Sunset Vista Elementary, which we have loved dearly. My concern is with closing it at this time, and I fully recognize the financial hardship that has gone on this year. One of my concerns is the way in which things have been handled that maybe could be adjusted to help children in general with the remote learning. Last spring, we received, when my children and I would go to the schools to pick up lunches as part of our routine to help us all emotionally navigate this year with COVID, we would pick up the weekly packets that were provided by the district for each grade level. And the Google Classroom or whatever it was that we used at that time was very easy to navigate. It was very easy to supplement our at-home education with the resources provided by the district. And I was discouraged at the beginning of the school year when we went on to log on, and it was very challenging to utilize the Canvas resources. It took us half of the time online simply to find the assignments that we were supposed to do with our children, and it just was exhausting to be on the screens that much. So we chose to unenroll, and we have homeschooled this year because it was easier. And my concern is how many other families have chosen to unenroll and go to other places because of that. And that is a huge affecting factor in why enrollment is down so much. I've watched people that I've known in this district and all over the country that have children who normally love school who have
30
really
seconds.
struggled. I'm sorry, what?
That's 30 seconds.
Thank you. Who have really struggled with online this year. And I wish that we had adjusted in a way like we'd had last spring, that we had paper packets that the children could do, and then they could still have Zoom meetings with their teachers online, with online resources, but be able to have, even if it was as simple as having boxes in front of the school of first grade, second grade, third grade, and the boxes of packets they pick up for that week and packets they drop off. And I just wish that we had resources that were more available for children. Thank you.
I'm sorry, is it Cruzela Olivas? Cruzita.
Hi, my name is Cruzita, and I'm here representing myself today on behalf of Isaac Imes. I'm part of the community. I have two children that attend Isaac Imes, and one of my children has special needs, which would be this guy right here. His name's Danny. Honestly, to hear that the school's going to shut down is a great impact because as a mother speaking on my son's behalf and my daughter, I've seen my daughter attend the school for almost 2 years now, and she's really excelled in her grades and all that she's doing. The teachers are wonderful. The community is great. I mean, this is one of actually it's the best school that my children have attended, and to hear that it's going to close is it's devastating. And I mean, it's been enough with the pandemic that's been going on towards us. I mean, now this is just another strike to the heart, you know, something really a hard pill for us to swallow. Not all kids are able to open up to changing schools and changing teachers and friends and environments and faces. And I, for one, know that my son is not capable of that. It's really hard. I mean, it's just not something so easy. Just, okay, shut down schools because we don't have funds. The funds are there. But how they'll be received, we don't know. But what we do know is that we cannot allow our children to be affected by this decision that we weren't even aware of this. It was just a great impaction that just fell on top of us like a ton of bricks, you know? And I feel like us, we're as united as one, we are strong. We the people, we can, and we will. And we can fight for what is right. And to have our children be affected by this is totally wrong. And it's not honorable, and nor is it right. It's injustice, and it needs justification. It needs to be justified immediately because our children should not suffer by the hands of your decisions and know where they're not being made correctly. It should not cause our schools to shut down and fall on our children. You know, they're children, for crying out loud. They don't know what's going on. But certain people are responsible for these kind of things. And it should never fall back on innocent children and families that never did a thing, you know, that just here trying to be good people and with all a good intention, just trying to take our children forward and move them to a sense of direction where it's positive and right for them, to, you know, in order to learn and grow as an environment, to adapt to the community, to build a sense of trust, a foundation of where people can actually unite as one and find some sense of dignity still, you know? But to deprive children of that and families is just totally wrong. I mean, this school has been a great impact in my life for my
30
kids.
seconds.
And I feel like it stands for something. There should be honor there. And having the school shut down is not honorable to me at all. Children will be affected. Their grades would fall drastically because not only will it affect them emotionally, but academically as well, because they're so used to their teachers and the way they're going and learning and growing. To turn around and have to go to a different school is just, it's devastating. It's really not the way to lean. It's not something we should be leaning towards. We should keep the schools open, Isaac Imes and every other school. You know, it's what's right for me.
Thank you, ma'am.
It is what's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Good evening. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comments from affected residents regarding proposed school closures, boundary changes, and/or the repurposing of schools. Please remain seated 6 feet apart while each person who wishes to speak is provided the opportunity to comment. You will have no more than 3 minutes to speak. Per policy, during this time, there will be no response from the governing board members. Once you are finished speaking, please exit the boardroom to the right. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. El propósito de esta audiencia pública es recibir los comentarios públicos de los residentes afectados en referencia a los cierres de escuelas propuestos, los cambios de límites residenciales y o la revitalización de las escuelas. Por favor, permanezca sentado 6 pies de distancia mientras cada persona que desee hablar tiene la oportunidad de hacer sus comentarios. No tendrán más de 3 minutos para hablar. Por política, durante este tiempo no habrá respuestas de los miembros de la Junta Directiva. Una vez que ustedes hayan terminado de hablar, por favor salgan de la sala de la Junta Directiva hacia la derecha. Muchas gracias.
Our first speaker, Jeanette Carlos.
Buenas noches. Vengo a decirle que cerrar la escuela Isaac Haynes sería un gran error, puesto que está conformado por grandes docentes y excelentes trabajadores que se preocupan por la educación de nuestros hijos y los apoyan en cualquier momento y situación. Además, esta situación es estresante para padres porque encontrar otra escuela de calidad como es Isaac Haynes es difícil. Y no solo es estresante para nosotros, sino también para nuestros hijos, puesto que ellos se ponen tristes al escuchar la noticia del cierre de su escuela. En vez de cerrar instituciones, hubieran de invertir en educación, en sueldos para los profesores, porque realizan un gran trabajo y el sueldo es muy poco. Yo a veces he ido como voluntaria y he visto que es demasiado trabajo para un profesor y tienen bastantes niños. ¿Por qué en vez de cerrar escuelas no invierten en eso? En mejores sueldos para los profesores, para los maestros, puesto que así ellos pueden dar una mejor calidad a los niños de educación. Espero, por favor, y se pongan la mano en el corazón y no cierren instituciones. Esto de la pandemia nada más es una excusa, puesto que están abiertos bares, discotecas, restaurantes, tiendas, restaurantes y donde quiera hay niños. La educación en línea jamás va a sustituir la educación presencial, puesto que se necesita interacción con los niños, tanto con maestros como con compañeros. Esta situación también es estresante para nuestros hijos. No quieren estar encerrados en las casas. Esto los enferma. Esto no es saludable para nuestros hijos. Queremos que abran las escuelas, no que las cierren. Gracias.
It would be a great error to close Isaac Haynes. We have a great school there. We have great teachers of, great staff of great quality. Our teachers and our students, especially our students, get very sad. Instead of closing the schools, you should be investing in opening the schools, investing in improving teachers' salaries, because we see how hard they work and how little they get paid. I hope that your heart softens with this, and all this with the pandemic was just an excuse, because I see other places that are open and the kids are there. Children need to be interact with one another, and this is not being with one another. It's not a good thing for them. Thank you.
Okay, next is Olga Montoya.
Buenas tardes. Nosotros no queremos que cierren la escuela porque, primero, porque tienen muy buenos servicios, está más preparada que otras escuelas, no tienen una muy buena organización, todo el personal de esta escuela está muy organizada, la escuela siempre está limpia. 3, los maestros están capacitados, tienen buena impresión, resuelven cualquier problema que tenga. Los niños siempre están los maestros resolviendo nuestros problemas, tanto con nosotros los papás como con los niños, siempre están al pendiente. Y 4, tienen reconocidos cada niño y están al pendiente como en los uniformes, siempre están atentos que no estén rompidos o que no tengan sus uniformes. Son tan accesibles los maestros que tienen uniformes en las escuelas listos para cambiarlos. No pueden cerrar la escuela, esto sería demasiado triste para todos, sería muy triste cerrar la escuela. En verdad, yo de todo corazón quisiera que ustedes se dieran cuenta del error que cometerían. Son muchos niños, somos muy pocos padres de familia los que estamos aquí, no sé por qué razón. Esta escuela está muy capacitada, mucho más que otras que están alrededor de nosotros. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Good evening. We don't want you to call school IMS. This is a school that is very well prepared, is well organized, and the teachers have great training. They're always aware of the students' and parents' needs. For example, uniforms. If students don't have a uniform, the staff there make sure that they get one. The school is well organized, very clean, and the teachers are always very accessible to students and parents. This will be a great error if you close. From the bottom of my heart, I plead with you not to close the school.
Next is Jessica Reyes.
Buenas tardes. Bueno, yo vengo aquí igual, pues, a decir que pues no quiero que cierren la escuela. Yo tengo 3 niños ahí y pues sí, yo opino que a los maestros pues sí les deben de dar pues más sueldos. Hacen muy buen labor en esa escuela. Todo el equipo está muy bien coordinado. Y pues en vez de cerrarla, pues yo creo que tenemos que luchar más para eso, para mejores sueldos para los maestros, para que haya más, ¿qué será? Pues ingresos para la escuela y pues sí es bien triste esto, que tengan que cerrar pues varias escuelas y así, pero pues no sé, yo siento que eso no es una salida como para por todo esto que estamos pasando. Los niños, pues es cierto, están bien estresados, ellos están pues lidiando con todo esto de las escuelas por línea, pero ellos tienen la ilusión de regresar a la escuela cuando pues se pueda abrir, estar con sus maestros, sus amiguitos, y pues yo creo que sí es mucho estrés para ellos, tanto para uno, en estos tiempos estar buscando y pues no sé, yo creo que en vez de cerrar escuelas, buscar soluciones para pues luchar por más sueldos, más que nada para los maestros, las escuelas. Es bien triste porque pues sí es cierto, otros lugares están abiertos y están dando pues que préstamos o cosas así para seguir adelante. Y la educación pues es muy importante y es un cambio bien radical si cambian pues al niño de la escuela, cuando ya su entorno pues es familiar y es conocido todo el área, como conocer otros lugares, otros maestros. Pues yo tengo un niño que necesita igual terapia y él es muy no le gusta mucho compartir, como es muy shy, no sé la
30
palabra
segundos.
bien. Entonces, él está como acostumbrado pues a su maestra, a sus amiguitos, a su terapista. Y yo creo que todo esto, que aparte pues, yo digo que les afectaría muchísimo a los niños, pues ya tenemos muchísimo con esto de la pandemia como para estresarlos más, de que te tengo que cambiar de escuela y mirar dónde. Y pues sí debería de haber otras opciones más que cerrar la escuela. La educación es importante. Gracias.
Good evening. Just like the other mom that was here before me, I have 3 children at school, IMS. I am hoping that the school stays open. One of the things that you should consider instead of closing would be maybe to increase teacher salary. I see how hard they work. The entire school team, the entire school staff, it works very hard. More funding for the school would be a better solution than closing it. It's very sad to hear so many schools that you want to close. Children are already stressed enough as it is. They're hoping that soon they will return to school and be with their friends and their teachers. Instead of closing the school, we should look for other solutions. And it would be very sad if the school was to be closed. This will be a very radical change. I have a child that gets therapy there, and he's very shy, and he's doing great with the therapist and with the staff there. The stress, the level of stress children have gone through with the pandemic, and now with changing of schools, it would be very detrimental.
Thank you. Next is Danae Delgado.
Buenas tardes. Yo vengo a pedir que por favor que todos pongan en el lugar de nosotros porque estamos pasando por una situación muy estresante, ¿verdad? Y pedimos que por favor que no nos cierren nuestra segunda casa, que es la escuela de Ainz. Nuestros niños también están muy tristes porque hemos compartido la noticia que puede ser y puede ser que no, entonces para que no sea otro golpe tan duro, aparte del coronavirus que estamos pasando, que es muy difícil, y ahora otra vez que cierren las escuelas es muy triste y nos sentimos muy tristes toda la familia, la comunidad, y no sé si podemos hacer algo, y ojalá que se pongan en nuestros lugares y nos comprendan también que los niños también les pasan mucho trabajo. Los maestros, por ejemplo, son muy buenos, nos ayudan en todo. También estamos muchos padres ahí y que no queremos que nos cierren nuestra segunda casa, solamente eso, no hay otra palabra. Muchas gracias.
Good evening. I just want you to place yourself in our situation, in our shoes for now. When finding out that IMS, you want to close it. IMS is like our second home to us. This will be a very hard hit for us to find out that the school wants to be closed. We're very sad. Maybe we're hoping that you will reconsider. The teachers are very kind, they're excellent teachers. We're very proud. And hopefully you will not close IMS because it is our second home to many of us.
Thank you. Next is Maria Zuniga.
Buenas tardes, vengo de...
Perdón, señora, más cerca, por favor, para oír mejor. Gracias.
El motivo
motivo de estar aquí es por pedir que si pudieran reconsiderar el que no cierren la escuela de AIMS. Nosotros como padres de familia necesitamos que nuestros hijos continúen recibiendo la educación de parte de los maestros. Ellos se sienten muy felices en su escuela. Ahorita con las clases en línea ellos están muy estresados, incluso nosotros como padres de igual manera, pero seguimos apoyándolos. A mí mis hijos en particular me preguntan, mamá, ¿y cuándo vamos a regresar a la escuela? Tenemos ganas de estar ahí cerca con nuestros maestros, con nuestros amiguitos. Todos los niños están completamente ya familiarizados ahí en su escuela. Ellos aman a sus maestros, nosotros como padres también. A todo el personal le tenemos mucho cariño. Son la directora, todos los maestros, nosotros ya sentimos como si fuera nuestra familia, nos sentimos como nuestro segundo hogar ya en la escuela, al igual que nuestros hijos. Sería muy triste que la cerraran, porque ¿por qué no mejor pedir apoyo para los maestros? Ellos hacen un buen trabajo para con nuestros hijos. Pienso yo que no deberían cerrar la escuela, al contrario, apoyar con más fondos para que la escuela siga, para que nuestros hijos reciban la educación que ellos realmente merecen. Creo que el cierre no es lo mejor porque sería un cambio drástico para ellos y para nosotros como padres también. Ellos están muy familiarizados ya ahí. El empezar en otra escuela de nuevo va a ser algo que creo yo que en vez de ayudar les afectaría bastante. Yo pienso que la educación para ellos es lo primordial, no al cierre. AIMES es una escuela muy presentable, muy buena y la educación es lo mejor que yo hasta ahorita siento que es lo mejor que mis hijos han estado recibiendo ahí. Por eso no al cierre. De favor, si pudieran, no sé, reconsiderarlo, se los agradecería bastante. Gracias.
Good evening. The reason I'm here is to let you ask you to reconsider not to close IMES. I know the class online, they're hard, and I try to support my kids as best I can. My children often ask me when they can go back to school, be with their friends and their teachers. We really love our staff. Our principal is a wonderful person. The teachers are just as great. We have done everything to work with them. Instead of closing the school, you should look for other ways to support the school and the staff there. This would be a great drastic change if you were to close the school. Instead of helping the children there, you would definitely kids would be more at risk by going to a different school. My children are there, they're happy, and I hope they stay there.
Veronica Martinez.
Good evening. We do thank you for the chance.
Por favor, señor, más cerca, sí.
We give you thanks for the chance for us to talk about the closing of our school. We're a part of our community, and it has taken us a long time to actually come close to our school, that is IMES. I am so thankful for the teachers, and because I have 3 kids right now there, and 2 of them they have special needs, and they've been there for my children. I heard from other schools that you're not considering closing, that they have more problems than we do. We have worked so hard to keep our school together in our community. We help each other just like parents. Sometimes we're just a small group of parents, but we're there to help. If you need anything from us, we're there to help and to support our school. And we're hoping that you will support us too. Because like the other mom said, it's our second home. Our children feel safe there. I heard from other schools that they have a bullying problem and they don't fix it. Our school is working on it because my kids have been bullied and it's a struggle. but the school helped me too to get through it. Right now, they're happy. They feel safe. They know they can trust their teachers. They know that if they have a problem, they can go to them. And I know that if I had to change them to another school, they won't do the same because there won't be no trust because they don't know the people. I've been in this community for 22 years. I've been attending AIMS for 22 years with my nephews, my nieces, all of them promoted from AIMS. I know all the people there. I know that if something happens to my child, I know they're going to be safe. And I think all the parents here, that's what they want. Our children to be happy and to go to school happy and not resisting because there's a problem there. I'm really thankful to the principals, the teachers, all the staff, because they've always been very supportive. And I think that closing the school won't be a good thing. I know we're just a few parents here right now, because most of them are working right now, or they had to take over the kids. But we're here in representation of everybody that is not here. We do thank you for all your time you're putting into considering closing or not closing the school. But I think that there's other schools that are really
30 seconds.
I don't know what else to say. It's just hard for everybody here to see our school closing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Naomi Navarrete.
Hola, yo soy padre de AIMS. Vengo aquí para decirles que no queremos que cierren AIMS, ya que AIMS nos ha apoyado, los maestros, la directora. Somos una familia en AIMS que nos tiene no hay otra escuela, creo que no hay apoyo como AIMS que nos apoya a los padres. Entonces, a toda la comunidad de AIMS que va, no queremos que cierren AIMS porque sería triste. Si ustedes quieren mejor para los niños, AIMS es súper buena escuela, apoyo para niños que necesitan clases especiales, la tienen. Y pues aquí estamos para que no nos cierren AIMS, ya que si cierran AIMS, pienso que va a estar horrible el vecindario. Y no queremos eso para nuestros hijos. No queremos mandarlos a otra escuela que no quieren nuestros hijos. Entonces, queremos que, pues, hay otras maneras de que se haya solución para que no cierren AIMS, de que, no sé, si necesitan apoyo de los padres más, porque hay muchos padres que no vinieron, pero tenemos firmas de ellos que no quieren que cierren AIMS. Así que, pues, solo les pido que, pues, se pongan en nuestro lugar. Gracias.
Hello, I'm here also supporting AIMS not to be closed. AIMS is a great school. It's always supported our children and parents. It would be very sad if we were to close AIMS. If you really want what's best for children, then do not close AIMS. If AIMS were to be closed, the neighborhood would be a horrible place to be at. If we will support you in the decision not to close AIMS so that you can find a better solution. Thank you.
Next is, I believe it's Larissa Garduno.
Buenas tardes. Estoy aquí nada más para pedirles por favor que reconsideren y que no cierren la escuela, ya que es una escuela que brinda todos los servicios que uno necesita, más cuando uno tiene un niño con especialidades especiales. Yo he recibido la ayuda de esa escuela para mi hijo desde que tenía 3 años, desde preschool hasta ahorita que él va en el grado 6. Para mí es una excelente escuela, que lo único que necesitan es poner un mejor salario para los maestros y más ayuda para ellos y para la directora, porque esa escuela para mí es como la segunda casa de mi hijo. Ellos le han ayudado en todo, está en un buen vecindario. Mi hijo se siente muy feliz de ir a esa escuela, ya que yo le he dicho que si quiere cambiarse de escuela y él me dice que no. Eso quiere decir que esa escuela lo hace sentirse feliz y le está dando la educación que él necesita. Por favor, reconsideren y no la cierren. Yo pienso que ustedes tienen otras mejores opciones en vez de cerrar. El cerrar la escuela y mandarlos a otra escuela diferente es algo frustrante para los niños, ya que ahorita la educación en línea es frustrante para ellos y para también nosotros los padres, pero sin embargo estamos apoyando a la escuela y quiero por favor reconsideren, pues para que no se cierre y apoyen a la directora y a los maestros. Ustedes tienen la solución en sus manos y por favor no cierren la escuela. Yo soy una persona que me siento muy feliz de tener a mi hijo ahí y quiero que ahí se gradúe para su 8º grado. No lo quiero cambiar de escuela, por favor reconsidere. Gracias.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here just to plead with you not to close IMES. IMES is a school that has a wonderful staff and the principal. My child has been there since he was in preschool at 3 years old. Now he's in sixth grade. The school has wonderful supports for children with special needs. My child does not want to change schools. I ask you to look for a different option, but not to close the school. You should be supporting the school. You should be supporting the teachers. And closing the school is not a solution. Please support the school, support our principal, support our teachers.
Thank you. Yvonne Salgado.
Buenas tardes. Gracias por la oportunidad que nos dan el día de hoy de exponer nuestros argumentos para que ustedes decidan del cierre de nuestra escuela. Yo durante la pandemia no he salido, he resguardado cuidando a mis hijos del coronavirus, pero yo junto con muchos padres de familia nos dimos la tarea de contactar a padres que no tienen la oportunidad de estar presentes el día de hoy porque son el sustento de sus familias y tienen que trabajar para poder llevar la comida a sus casas. Estoy aquí representando a muchos padres que están en desacuerdo del cierre de las escuelas, ya que no pueden venir porque trabajan o muchos tienen infectados de coronavirus. Para mí, la pandemia cambió la vida cotidiana de nuestros hijos. Ya no es lo mismo como lo era antes. Ha sido adaptarse a nuestro nuevo estilo de vida. Y pienso que si ustedes deciden de cerrar nuestras escuelas, afectaría emocionalmente a nuestros hijos. Cuando mi hijo escuchó que se iba a cerrar IMES, él se puso muy triste y comenzaron a llorar. Me dijeron, mamá, tenemos que hacer algo para que no cierren nuestra escuela. Quiero compartir algo a donde quieren enviar a mis hijos a la escuela. No es un lugar seguro. Un día yo salí con mis hijos por la tarde y hay muchas pandillas. Considérenlo porque no sería un buen lugar para que mis hijos cumplan con la educación. La educación es el futuro de nuestros hijos. También quiero decirles que para mí fue traumático el haber sido víctima me intentaron asaltar. Entonces yo no enviaré a mis hijos a ese lugar porque cuando hacen actividades, yo siempre voy con mis hijos a las actividades nocturnas y yo sé que no sería seguro que mis hijos fueran ahí. Yo consideraría de enviarlos a esta escuela o moverlos a otra escuela. Para mí la educación de mis hijos es lo más importante porque es el futuro de lo que ellos van a hacer más adelante. Mantengan nuestras escuelas abiertas y en vez de ustedes querer cerrar, apoyen a los maestros, porque son unos excelentes maestros. Yo tomo las clases con mi niño de kindergarten y es difícil, pero ahí vamos, poco a poco. Colecté estas firmas y quiero entregarlas, no sé quién las pueda recibir.
Buenas tardes. Gracias por darme. Thank you for giving me the opportunity of telling you in Spanish. Sorry about that. Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here and hear our arguments. I'm here representing many parents. Many parents are not here because they're the main breadwinners at their home. They're working. If you decide to close IMSS, then it would be very sad for many. When my kids found out that IMSS were to be closed, they were very sad, but they also said that we should do something about this. IMSS is not just a school, but it's also a great center for activities after school. Their schools, if there are activities at school, I know that they will be safe and the kids will not be in any danger there. Sometimes just going out, you're at risk, especially with some of the gangs. I was a victim of a mugging not too long ago because I ventured out. With this pandemic, I've been indoors mostly with my kids, and it's been difficult and frustrating at times. So we just want you to support our teachers and to support our principal and to support the parents. Many parents could not make it today. I do have some signatures for the board, if it's okay to bring him to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, next is I have family, Verdiana Vallejo and Verdiana Salgado. It's okay.
Ok, buenas tardes, gracias por permitirnos darles nuestros argumentos y podernos expresar lo que sentimos por el cierre de nuestra escuela. Yo entiendo la situación que ustedes tienen con el presupuesto que les da, el déficit de dinero que tienen, pero yo quiero decirles nuestra preocupación también. Entendemos que muchos niños se han ido a escuelas diferentes, por ejemplo la de Math y Ciencia. Muchos padres se han cambiado, pero yo quiero decirles que tenemos alrededor de más de 550 alumnos en IMSS. Los alumnos que estamos ahí y los padres estamos porque estamos contentos con la escuela, nuestros maestros y toda la educación que nuestros hijos están obteniendo ahí. Yo quiero que tomen en cuenta que muchos padres no queremos mandar a nuestros hijos a otra escuela, pero si ustedes nos van a poner en esa situación, nos están orillando a buscar también ese tipo de escuelas, Math y Ciencia, en lugar de que nos dejen perder, que nos vayamos esos casi 600 alumnos que tiene IMSS, nos deberían de dar la oportunidad de seguir perteneciendo a esa escuela que es donde nosotros como padres y los niños quieren asistir. Igual que mis compañeras, yo quiero decirles que tienen un excelente maestros, una excelente principal que nos hace sentir a gusto y nos hace sentir en familia. También yo como madre de la escuela quiero decirles que muchos padres estamos de acuerdo y queremos preguntarles a ustedes que si nosotros como padres podemos hacer algo por la escuela acerca del presupuesto. Por ejemplo, si no hay, pudieran recortar, por ejemplo, la limpieza, si ustedes quisieran recortar ese tipo de cosas, nosotros como padres estamos dispuestos a ir a apoyar a la escuela y nosotros hacer eso. Nomás necesitamos dialogar, que ustedes nos digan cómo como padres podemos nosotros ayudar a nuestros maestros y a nuestra escuela para que no sea cerrada. Mi hija también quiere hablar un poquito acerca de eso. Yo, por ejemplo, tengo ella como
30 segundos.
Cuando estaba pequeña, ella no hablaba nada. Ella desde ahí entró al preschool cuando tenía 3 años y ella empezó a hablar gracias a la escuela. Está un poquito nerviosa, le da pena hablar en público, pero ella me había dicho que ella quería venir a representar a todos los niños de la escuela, que si la podía yo traer. Y ella pues quiere hablar, no sé si puede.
Buenas tardes. Good evening. Here I go again. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to hear my concerns as well as the concern of other parents. I understand that the possible reason for closing the school is due to the budget, and I do want you to understand. I do understand as well as many parents. However, though, I do not want also to be, as well as myself and other parents, to be forced into a situation where if you were to close, we will be forced to take our kids to the school, math and science school. As a mother, just as other parents, we want to let you know that we are willing to do whatever it takes to support you in keeping the school open and to support you in if there were to be make certain cuts to the budget of the school, such as maybe the cleaning or other things like that, we were more than willing to go and help you out with this. My child, my little girl here, was not speaking at one time, but now she does speak. She wanted to talk to you, but she's a little bit shy and she's also very nervous. So I do thank you.
Hi, my name is Viviana. I am representing from the school IMS. When I found out when they was closing, I got so sad. I don't actually care if I don't earn anymore. I just want to go to IMS.
So she cried because she's really, really sad about the closed school. Y todos los niños están igual. Todos sus compañeros de clase cuando supieron se pusieron igual que ella, muy tristes.
Yeah, all the other kids there in the same class were just as sad. They were just as emotional.
Thank you.
Next is, I think it's Crosita Salazar. I apologize if I messed that up. I'm sorry.
Buenas tardes. Pues yo solamente les vengo a pedir que por favor no cierren la escuela, porque cuando mis niños se enteraron que iban a cerrar la escuela se pusieron muy tristes y he platicado con varios de ahí de la vecindad y tampoco están de acuerdo que cierren la escuela. Dicen, ¿cómo van a cerrar la IMSS? Si ahí yo fui a la escuela, mis hijos fueron a la escuela, mis nietos han ido a la escuela y pues no queremos que cierren la escuela. Por favor, les pido que consideren la idea de no cerrar la escuela. Gracias.
Good evening. I come here just to ask you, please, not to close IMSS. When my children found out that the school was going to be closed, they were very sad. I've spoken to many other people there in the area, and they were very surprised that the school was targeted to be closed. They said, how can they close the school? My kids went there, my parents went there, my grandkids went there. So I just come to ask you again, please don't close IMES.
Next is Ascension Perez.
Hola, buenas noches a todos, a todo el personal. Pues yo vengo aquí en apoyo también de la escuela IMES. Estamos muy afectados y tristes por las noticias que estamos recibiendo sobre la posible cierre de la escuela. Entonces creo que nuestros hijos están igual que nosotros. Como yo, mi niña empezó a ir desde el preschool, kinder y todo, hasta el 7 que va ahorita. Como todos hemos dicho, es como su segunda casa, su segundo hogar de nuestros niños. Y esperamos y tenemos fe en Dios que ojalá reconsideren y no cierren nuestra escuela. Porque sí, en mí en lo personal me afecta mucho y a mis niños también. Porque a pesar, yo entiendo esto del COVID ha afectado mucho a todos, tanto la educación como a nosotros los padres. Entonces, yo tengo fe de que ojalá no la cierren. Porque sí, los niños, en lo personal, mis niños, ellos sí están muy tristes también, de que van a cerrar la escuela, se van a ir a otra, van a conocer nuevos niños también que ellos no saben y van a extrañar a los demás. Yo no tengo mucho que decir más que eso, que tengo fe de que reconsideren y no cierren la escuela de IMES. Estamos muy, pero muy contentos con todo el personal, especialmente con nuestra directora Santina, que ha sido una persona súper especial, transparente con nosotros los padres. Nos ha dado muchas oportunidades que quizá no hemos sabido aprovechar unos y otros sí. Entonces, yo tengo fe de reconsideren eso. Muchas gracias y buenas noches.
Hello and good evening to all here. I am very sad to find out that IMES possibly could be closed. We are very happy with the school. My daughter has been there since kinder, now she's in seventh grade. It's true what other parents said. It is a second home to many of us. I understand that the COVID has affected many things. I do have faith that you will make the right decision and not close it. We're again very happy with Santina, the principal. She has done wonders for our kids and the staff. She has given so many opportunities to parents. A lot of us don't take advantage of those opportunities, but it is a wonderful school. Please don't close IMES.
Thank you. Next is Melanie Hernandez.
Hi, good evening, and I'm here because I have 5 kids. I'm a mother of 5 kids. I have 4 kids on the IMES, and since the day I moved in here, they help me. They give me a lot of support for my kids. My kids I have 2 kids that need speech, and one I have with Down syndrome. She didn't come to IMES because they didn't have her special needs classes there, but the other 2 were there since preschool. Now one is on 1st grade and 3rd grader, and I have a kindergarten there. I mean a 1st grader. And my other one's going to kindergarten, so we have 4 kids in there. And I will struggle if my kids get to go to another school because of the transportation, because I don't know if they're gonna provide transportation for them. So, and I feel in that school, I don't want them to close it because the reason is that they've been giving me a lot of support there that I never had finding another school that I find here. They've been helping with doing so much things there that I never expect from a school like this. And I never expect myself helping a school on being there all the time for my kids. I never expect myself seeing myself supporting a school like this. And I feel proud for this school that's helping us as a parents and my kids. And I don't think if my kids go to another school, they will find the help and the support that we have here. I've been going through so many things right now on my life that I have from them all the support that I've been needing, and I don't think I will find it somewhere else. Give me a second. And hopefully that you guys consider these to keep the school open, for them to keep helping. If my kid's not gonna be there for long or something, I want the other kids that come to that school know that that school will help them a lot too. Thank you, I can't talk. I just feel so sad about this, and I can't express all what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, ma'am. Are those did you want me to have the documents, the ones in your hands? Okay. That's all right.
Yeah, these are signatures from all the parents that can come, and those are the signatures that we got from them to prove that I'm trying to help the school and anything like that.
Thank you.
All right, we're all back. At this time, I need a motion to reconvene to special meeting.
I'll make a motion to reconvene the special meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. No opposition then. And now we're on adjournment. I need a motion there as well.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.